I'll say the Pledge of Allegiance for everybody. You don't have to join in. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everybody, thank you. This is our first time trying to do this. I hope we didn't notify some people not to attend because of that email, but let's go forward with the meeting. I'd like to have an approval of the agenda as presented on the screen and what was given to you in an email. We're going to have to do a roll call vote. So, Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Courtney?
Aye.
Debbie?
Mr. Kwiatkowski, I'm sorry, hold on. We need actually a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Okay, all right.
Second.
Let's have a motion.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Second.
Okay, when you talk on there, I know that it basically shows that you're talking at the time. But if you could say, this is Rick, I'm seconding the motion or whatever, okay?
Hey, Rick.
So the secretary knows who's speaking specifically.
Rick, we're getting a lot of background noise on yours as well.
Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit.
Okay. All right, we do have a motion and a second for the agenda. We can just do an all in favor vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion passed.
I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from March. Can I have a motion? Any changes, additions, corrections?
This is Courtney.
We approve the minutes from March as distributed.
Second, this is Courtney.
All right. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, there are no no's. Okay. Public comment. Lynette, do we have anybody?
We currently do not have anyone waiting to call in. We can just wait about a minute, and then we can, if no one comes in, we can move forward.
All right, so we're just, nobody talk because then it'd be on their minutes, so. And our secretary is recording everything, or are you recording it?
It is being recorded. It's being recorded normally, as we normally do, through the DCR recording and also being recorded through YouTube. So you will have both options available for the public to view and listen to.
Okay. And this is the way the council holds their meetings?
When they've done them virtual, yes, same thing.
Okay.
And then as well as with our other boards and commissions that have done the virtual meetings. I am not seeing anyone that is calling in, so we can move forward if you're ready to go forward.
Okay, let's move to the staff update. Kate? Oh, Kate, Patrick just texted me. Any explanation for cancellation, Patrick? Can somebody tell him what to do?
I just emailed out. I'll email him again.
I'll tell him to check his email. This is a text that I got, so. All right, I just sent him an email saying that we're meeting right now to check his email. So
We have a caller. We have a caller.
Hold on, I've got to let him in.
Patrick.
Oh, did you let him in?
Is now joining.
Hi, Patrick.
You need to hit *6 to unmute.
Got it. Hi, Patrick.
Hi. I got a cancellation email for this meeting this morning at 7:41.
Yes, that was the wrong link. And so I canceled that one. And then the one with, I had 2 meetings back to back, the one with the wrong link and the one with the correct link. And so I canceled the one with the wrong link this morning so that no one would click into that meeting, but I should have done it and sent a message with it. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I'll see if I can get the right one in.
Ms. Gurtel, so Kate, I think we're at staff update.
So we had Peggy Gale come forward at one of the last historical commission presentations and ask if we wanted to get involved with her history group, the Colonial Dames. And they are currently working on putting up a marker at the Pritchard Cemetery on North Hobcaw. So I collected some resources that we had to share with her. And if anybody would like to help out with the research or help out with their historic marker for this project, let me know and I can give you her contact information. We have the latest history presentation up on the History Channel. That was a link in the staff report. The next item in the history room, we have these boxes of surveys. They were done by 2 outside researchers before I came on. So when we were organizing the room, we weren't sure, what they were, where they came from. And turns out Pat Sullivan, a citizen of Mount Pleasant, she knew the researchers, and so she gave me their contact information. And I'm gonna reach out to them and see, report back to the commission where they are with that research, and then try and get their, master list. So I'm gonna be working on that, trying to get that more complete for us. Minute books. I just picked up the rest of our minute books yesterday. They look amazing. I'll send out the report that he has on them once he emails it to me. He said he was going to email me the report, so I'll send that out with pictures of the minute books, and we can make that available maybe in one of our Quick Fact Fridays to let everybody know. Couple more things, just NFC. Teresa added the last 2 NFC labels to the Brickyard markers. So those will be enabled. And our social media is booming. We have 908 followers, following 654, and we've got 52 posts. So got a lot of followers. And the last thing, part of my staff update was just that with the current state of things, COVID, South Carolina being number 3 in the world, not a great stat. We're just gonna plan on doing the August meeting virtually, just so everybody can be aware and ready. And that concludes my staff update if I don't have any questions.
Kate, can we just let everybody know that you don't have to have a camera in your computer to connect?
Yeah, so this is a good place to talk about that. For virtual meetings, when I put up the agenda, the top of the agenda is going to have the place where, I don't know if you can see my cursor, the number that you call in, and then the actual conference ID number. So you don't have to have a camera on your computer or even use a computer. You can just call, you can call this number, and then the star 67 in the front. The point of that is just to hide your phone number from the public. So your phone number won't be up there for everyone to see. So you can just call in and we would accept you under public comment or under whichever agenda item you wanted to speak on, and you would be let into the meeting. You would get your 2 minutes, and then you would be taken out of the meeting after those 2 minutes. But it's available for live streaming, so you can watch it at the same time on the YouTube link at the top.
So if somebody calls into town hall and says, I want to participate in public comment, what happens?
So Ms. Gutowski, they would need to call that specific number that's at the top of the agenda. They
Okay.
cannot just simply call the main number for town hall. They have to actually call in for the video conference meeting.
All right,
So
but these
that's
instructions are not published
Yes, they are. They're published on the agenda.
on
They're
the
on
agenda.
top of the agenda.
Okay. So if somebody looks in the paper and says, oh, there's a commission meeting this Thursday, I want to talk.
They
what do
should go
do?
they should go to the agenda so that they can see the agenda items, and then that will give them not only the YouTube link, but also the information if they
Okay.
want to call in to comment.
So would it be good to put in the paper to go to the agenda so people know? So otherwise they would call you and say, how do I get in? And then you say, go to the agenda?
So we don't have purview over what that public notice ad that's done weekly looks like. I do
Okay.
forward the YouTube link when we know that it's a video conference meeting. I'm not sure if that's included in that weekly notice or not.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, moving on to our committee
Actually, I have a
report.
quick comment or a quick question. This is Courtney.
Yeah.
Kate, what is the current status of staff in Mount Pleasant, like the town of Mount Pleasant? Are you in the office?
So some people can choose to be in the office or work from home. We have a cleaning schedule, and everybody is required to wear masks inside. The staff are, and meetings are limited. We've got spacing and everything. All the chairs have been taken out, so there's no actual waiting area, so people aren't close to each other. But for staff, it's their choice to work from home or be in the office.
And Courtney, we pretty much, most of the planning department is working from home.
I see.
We have very few that are in the office.
Have there been any in-person meetings?
We've had, Planning Commission right now has had in-person meeting, and Board of Zoning Appeals has done in-person. The remainder of the boards and commissions are doing virtual meetings. And again, looking at doing them in the near future. We're also looking at potentially moving our Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals to virtual meetings as well.
Okay, I'm just curious if there's been any discussion of a plan to reopen or.
So town hall is open. It's just we've got the option of working from home. We have several in our department that, because of different issues or just concerns, they're working from home. Like I said, we do have a few that are coming into the office, but it's just very limited. And it kind of depends on the department. Some of our departments, the other departments have more staff that are in the office as opposed to working from home. So it's kind of, it's kind of up to the individual different departments on how they're handling their workload and how they need, their needs and whether how much staff they have actually in the building and not or not.
Got it.
We still email back and forth and call people back when they call into the main line just from home. And we've been reviewing plans as usual, just from home.
Have you seen a downtick in activity from citizens contacting the planning department for any reason?
Do you
Maybe
mean?
a little bit, but I feel like not really.
No.
Yeah, we're still pretty busy. I know our inspections division still pumping out permits and doing plan review on that end as well. So it's still very, very active. There's been a little bit, I think, slowdown on the permits, but not really a lot. We're seeing a lot more kind of renovation addition type plan review that's happening, as opposed to like a full new construction. But that's kind of typical during the recession.
Yeah.
Back like in 2008, that was the situation that happened as well. We saw like where the entire new construction slowed down a bit, but we had an increase in renovations, additions, and things like that.
Lots of people have pools now.
Yeah, so it didn't change our workload that much because it just kind of shifted the focus of where that workload was.
And the other question I was going to have is, I know the Blessing of the Fleet got canceled, but is there any discussion of like future town events or the status of
Not
gathering in parks or?
No,
I know.
not that I've heard.
Yeah, I know that the plan is still to have the fall recreation activities. I know that they're opening up registration for that. I have not heard that those have been canceled. So I think that right now the thought is that, yeah, they're going to try to make sure that those happen. I know that there's been summer camps that they've had as well. So there has been, again, they're just trying to keep the social distancing and checking staff and everyone that are in those activities and participating to try to keep exposure down.
All right.
Committee reports? Public Education Committee?
So this one, Teresa had asked to add, she had suggested for the Public Education Committee to create color-coded coded maps for walking tours, and really base it off of the Moultrie Middle School tour as an example in Old Village, in anticipation for the Mount Pleasant Way, which has been part of the comprehensive plan, where we're really trying to connect existing infrastructure, new infrastructure, attractions, to make a multi-use path, and to have our history tours kind of work in conjunction with that. So that was something that she'd like to propose for the Education Committee to work on.
This is Rick. Has the comprehensive plan been released officially, or is it still waiting to be voted on?
It has not been voted on yet.
All right, so when it is voted on, can we have that section of the plan that references the Mount Pleasant Way?
It's linked. It's linked. All of it is available online. You can go and look and review it yourself, the comprehensive plan. And it's also linked in the committee report where it says Mount Pleasant Way in blue. You can click on that and it'll take you to that section. Specifically, it takes you to a town website where it's specifically on the Mount Pleasant Way, and on that website it says, link in comprehensive plan as well. But this website is specifically about the Mount Pleasant Way.
Okay.
So that's linked in there. So would you like to make a motion on that item? Or would you like to delay it until the comprehensive plan comes out?
I wish Teresa was on the call so that we could get her viewpoint on this.
This is Brian. I had talked to Teresa about a week and a half ago, and it seems like she's continuing to at least get the starter information necessary to create these maps and walking tours. And I offered to assist her with that, especially with kind of my focal point being the Shim Creek area. So just, I think she is already planning, and I'm definitely able to assist on putting at least the starter bits of this together.
So I'm not sure we need a motion here then, since the two of you are working on it.
Mr. Kotowski, you can defer it to the next meeting as well.
Yeah, let's defer
Yeah,
this.
we can do
and
that
Put
for
this
sure.
on the agenda for the next time. But Brian, you and Teresa keep working on it so that
Yeah, and I haven't done anything yet, just to full disclosure, because basically she had some stuff she wanted to put together, and I think she's going to be sending some parts that I can help out with. But I know
Okay.
she's already got some thoughts and plans for that.
That's great.
okay, we'll move that to the next meeting. Special Collection Committee.
Okay.
You got the big news.
Yes. So we will be getting an intern through the planning department. The intern is only available for a couple of weeks. He goes to Wake Forest. He is in town. He usually lives in North Carolina, so he's only going to be in town for a couple weeks. Mid-July, basically starting next week until end of August time. And so originally, Courtney and I, when we had met with the Special Collections Department of the library downtown, talking about what was needed for cataloging, we had talked about coming up with a system for inventorying. So I made an inventory sheet using the resources that they gave us, and then what we had specifically for our room. And so that's one task that he'll be working on, as well as helping with social media and then other planning office tasks that aren't related to the Historical Commission, like GIS kind of stuff. But the history room cataloging is huge for us. So we'll be able to get that information online. I can send y'all out the Excel sheet that I made up for approval, or not, maybe not even, I won't say approval, for review and suggestion. That way, we don't have to make a motion or anything, but those are the duties that I have so far.
Kate, you mentioned, this is Rick, you mentioned that he was available for 2 weeks, but you said he was going to be here from mid-July till end of August. So,
sorry, I meant to say a couple weeks. So about a month. He'll be here for about a month.
okay.
So this isn't something that we needed to make a motion on. This was really more of an update.
Yep, that's good. Let's see how he does.
Yeah, very exciting.
Kate, I was going to say, I don't know that I ever responded back to your Excel spreadsheet, but it looked good to me. And if you want to forward him, what's his name?
Mike.
If you want to forward him my contact information, I might be able to help or guide, if he needs help.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
I think getting started is the most important part. So that's great.
Yeah. And can we get him to do a report at the end?
Okay.
Just like a status, the status of where you left things, and maybe some highlights from some of the items that he's cataloged.
And also recommendations. Okay, action on collected newspapers. In the March meeting, we talked about various people doing certain collections so that we could put it into a time capsule. So I gave Kate all the newspapers starting on that date through a couple weeks ago, and she has that stored in the history room now. Kate, am I correct?
I do. Yes, I have them in the history room right now.
So if there was anything else people were collecting, I don't remember what the other tasks were. but that's the one I did, so.
Yes, and one of my tasks was to collect specific town updates on the COVID-19. But this action item was really to move on. Now that we've collected items, what would we like to do with them? What would the time capsule really look like? Would we like to do a time capsule, or would you like to do a certain section in the history room dedicated to it instead? Or if you want to keep with the time capsule, where would we put it? When would we open it? Things like that.
Hi, it's Debbie. I think if we're going to do a time capsule, since COVID-19 is not over,
Yeah.
maybe we just designate a section in the history room, and then revisit when we're in a better position to know that we're at the end of it.
That works. Do we have a motion?
I don't know if we need a motion for that.
Well, I made it an action, so it's an action. Just appease me, Rick.
All right. Well,
I
then
think
I'll make a motion.
So I think.
well,
what we
instead of a motion, why don't we just defer this to the next meeting? Put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
Well, I think what Kate may be looking for is I think a motion to include those newspapers that have been collected as part of the history room. Is that correct, Kate?
Yes, I was looking for what direction what we wanted to do with the items. Do we want to include them in the history room, or are we going to make a time capsule, and put it something else?
I think it's not necessarily including in the history room. It's just that you're collecting the items right now. So I don't see a need for a motion at this point.
So,
just they'll store them there until we have the decision what we're going to do with them.
So it's not necessarily a decision on what will be done with them, like the end result. I think right now it's just saying that, yes, we have these items and we do want these items kept in the history room.
Remember, sorry, that remember.
Can I join the discussion if you even hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
Two things. One, I think a time capsule is something we just drop right now. I don't think there's any interest in the future, anyone opening up a time capsule on the existence of a disease. I just don't think the optics go well with that. Two, we're getting the intern in. I don't know how many newspaper articles are being collected. In my mind, I'm thinking a lot of them are duplicative or hyperbolic, in which case, why don't we just let the intern look at it and include in his report how we should treat this or how the volume of the materials there are. I don't want to start adding things to the history room and then we fill it up with stuff that we decided we want to get rid of. So why don't we just punt this one to the intern?
Interesting point. That's really what I was thinking too, Patrick, is on the cataloging side of things with the intern, would we want it to be part of that? So that's that was part of my intent for a motion. So what you're suggesting is that we have the intern go through and decide what's worth keeping and what's worth not, and adding that to the history room?
My motion would be to have whatever's been collected thus far to be looked at by the intern, and he can state what the materials are, their volume, and include that as a section in his report as to how he thinks we should treat and how large the collection is on COVID material. And that would be my motion.
Okay.
And to interrupt, this is Brian. I would suggest that we.
I'm sorry, Brian. Hang on just a moment. Can I get a second on Mr. Morrissey's motion?
This is Courtney. I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
For discussion.
No problem. More along what Patrick was saying, this is something that I think in 2 or 3 years, the material that we do decide to keep, that the intern sifts through, might be something we revisit then and can focus on kind of how it affected the area, but not necessarily like a time capsule. I think there'd be more interest to go back in 2 years or so when this hopefully is kind of under the table and show the effects on the community from a historic standpoint, businesses, that sort of thing. Because I've been talking, and my task was to get some updates and knowledge from especially area businesses that I deal with on Shim Creek. And I do have some of that information that I can help include.
Yeah.
I also this is Courtney, might suggest that, we just start a newspaper clippings folder. A lot of libraries do have clipping sections, and we just kind of throw that in there for a while.
We have a newspaper clipping section right now in the history room.
Yeah, so we can just add it to that collection and, like Brian said, revisit it in the future.
Okay, so kind of what I'm hearing are two different approaches where Patrick is saying, make it one whole collection separately so that the intern goes through and picks, what's important and it becomes its own collection. And then from you, just clip the newspapers and then put it in what we already have.
Well, I think the intern can sift through it for sure to prioritize what he thinks would be the most relevant. And, for now, just house it in the newspaper clipping section.
And then to go on that too, this is Brian, to decide what to do with it later on, but don't have a complete amassing of stuff that's irrelevant. Have the intern sift through it, keep what might be relevant in 2 or 3 years that might be good to revisit, whether we release like an article or something in the newspaper to suggest what we saw from a historic standpoint, the effects on the community.
Okay.
We have a motion on the floor. I'm not sure it's still necessary, but
We do have a motion. The motion is to have the intern complete the cataloging of all items and have the recommendation on those items to be kept.
all right. Any further discussion? Can I have a roll call vote?
That's correct. So, Courtney?
Debbie? Courtney?
In favor, aye.
Ms. Sutherland?
Aye.
Mr. Morrissey?
Aye.
Mr. Blaylock?
Aye.
And Mr. Gutowski?
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Okay, Tourism Committee. Create the passport program.
Is this something that, Debbie, you want to maybe take over, or you want me to?
I will be happy to. We actually had a conference call a few weeks ago with Teresa, myself, and with Kate, and I'm sure you all saw the video from Beaufort, and we were thinking about doing something similar so that people could actually get out and would have like a passport where they could check off the historical signs that they have that they've gone to, and we want to tie that all in with our NFC program, and in order to continue to gather information on this, we need to make a new video, and we've been working with Kate and hoping that can be done in-house. And Kate, I don't know, is there any cost to this, or did we get anything from the marketing department?
That was something that I wanted to bring up. We didn't think of any cost that would come from it, but I wanted to just see if anybody had any thoughts, like, could they think of any hidden costs that we might just be overlooking that we might need to budget towards this? Mm-hmm. And then the second thing is that currently our communications department is only one person, and it's going to be a project that, I just wanted to let you guys know that with one person, their workload is very heavy. And so maybe just be patient with it. We can, move forward best we can, but just so you're aware of that staffing.
Okay. Well, I think we could certainly move ahead with looking at the, the actual passport, and we can always add the video in later.
Yeah. So does anybody have any comments on, and this would be more the discussion time. And then we can, or sorry, Lynette, should this be the time where we make a motion and approve this item and then discuss the ideas for the passport program, or would we discuss it? We'll discuss it and then make the motion, right?
I think you could do it either way. I think right now it's probably premature to do a motion simply because you don't have the full parameters of what that program is going to look like. So you don't know if there's going to be any costs associated with it, those types of things. So I think right now it could just be kind of a discussion and a continued discussion in future meetings.
Okay.
As far as how it's going. And then once you kind of have that program laid out, then I think that's when you would be able to make that motion.
All right, so let's move that. This is Rick. Let's move that to the next meeting's agenda for discussion.
So you don't want to discuss any options, nobody has any ideas on this program that they'd want it to? We'll definitely add it to the next one, and we can do that later in the agenda where it says for next agenda items. We'll go through and say which ones we're going to keep. But for the discussion right now, you don't want to discuss anybody's ideas on this, or we've heard enough.
I think the one thing I want to throw out there, this is Debbie, is that we also came up with another idea about what to call the program. So we're still kind of tossing that around. So we've got Mount P and Me as one idea, and then also tap into history is another idea, because we'd be using the NFC labels, which of course we want to expand, ideally to all the rest of the signage. So I think probably how we should proceed is, Kate, I think you and Teresa and I could have another conference call and start roughing out exactly what this passport would look like.
Yeah. Okay.
And we could do that certainly, in time for the next meeting, and necessarily, printing cost, or if it's something that people can just download.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I think it could be very low cost, if there is any cost at all.
Yeah, like if we would want to bring in graphics or things like that, we should definitely talk through. Okay. And then so the tourism committee will continue to work on that, and we'll obviously keep it on the agenda for next time to bring more information forward.
This is Rick. Debbie, are you envisioning something similar to what the National Park Service does when you go visit a park, that you get stamped? Something similar to that as a
something
passport?
Similar, yes.
Okay.
And if you saw what they did in Beaufort, they actually had like an Excel spreadsheet, and for all of their the historical signage, and then they had a specific question that you could only answer if you went to the sign.
Gotcha.
And they would check it off, and but they had theirs within a certain time frame, and they had some incentives, and I don't know that we haven't really thought that far if we really want to get into all of that, or just make this sort of an ongoing program.
This really sounds like more of an educational program for kids as well. Is that the focus here?
It could be.
Yeah, we can incorporate the education committee on this. It could be both could work on it. I don't think it. The idea behind it was to create some tourism based on history, but absolutely great project for kids to get out and do too. Possibly letting the schools know, things like that. But I think it's good where it is right now in the tourism committee. Public education committee, more than welcome to jump on this project too.
I look forward to more input, Debbie and Kate, on this program. So,
and Debbie and Kate, if y'all need this is Brian. If y'all need a lending hand, I'd love to at least, not necessarily, I know y'all already have some ideas for it, but not necessarily have input, but just listen in if y'all want to include me in the conference call just to learn a little bit more about it and perhaps be of assistance.
Great. We'd love to have you, Brian. That'd be great.
Lynette, isn't that a problem though, having three? Oh no, I guess it'd have to be 4 people to have a quorum.
Yeah, it has to be 4. So 3 is.
Okay. Just for Brian, just for for your edification,
Yes.
We can't hold any kind of a meeting that has a quorum in it. So that's
Understood.
why I brought that. So a quorum is
No
4
problem.
out of the 7 members. So
Yeah.
And also, we would not be taking any formal action. This would just be just doing some of the background work.
Exactly. Yeah. So no action. Exactly. We're just going to do some research and bring it to the commission. Nothing decided.
Exactly.
And so just kind of on Rick's point on the clarification to that, so whether you have action or not, you just can't have the
That's
number
right.
of members for a quorum.
Understood.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Got it. Thank you for letting me know.
but I appreciate your volunteering, Brian. So yeah.
Certainly.
So we'll get you in that next call.
Fantastic. Thank y'all.
All right. Let's move on to item number 6, discussion and approval of the revised 2020 bylaws.
So Mr. Gutowski, I think we still needed to talk about the video.
The video was kind of part of the
Is that part of the passport program?
Right.
program
Yeah.
where
Okay,
we
got
were
it.
going to basically introduce it to everybody. So I made them separate, but they're pretty much, they're almost like a package deal. I mean, we don't have to do the video. It's just,
We'd like to do the video.
yeah.
Yeah, I think once committee has some recommendations, we can determine.
Right.
So we'll move to discuss this later once we get some more information.
Correct.
Okay.
The bylaws.
Bylaws. So Patrick had some suggestions on narrowing it down a bit, just because a lot of what we do is different from the other boards and commissions. So Lynette actually went through and looked at what we would be able to remove and what actually had to stay. And she redlined where the items could be removed. And so Patrick, I don't know if you have any other comments to make on this one, since this was.
My only comment is that my intent originally was just to excise all those areas that I didn't think were applicable to us, but I understand the town wanting to have consistency and overlap. So
Yeah.
What's being proposed is fine with me, and we all realize that some of that stuff might grate on our ears a little bit when we read it, but that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So if you need a motion to approve the bylaws as amended, I am fine with that.
Oh, is that your motion?
If we're at the motion state, then I so motion to accept the bylaws as amended and circulated among us with the red lines removed for the final copy.
Can I have the second?
Second,
Who was that?
Debbie.
Any other further discussion? All right. Can I have a roll call vote? Lynette?
Lynette?
Mr. Morrissey,
Aye.
Miss Sutherland,
Aye.
Miss Thies,
Aye.
Mr. Blaylock,
Aye.
Mr. Katowski.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you, everybody. Next, discussion of next month's agenda items.
So we have to still discuss to keep on is the newspapers, what to do with them once we get the intern on. But we could even just not put that on the next meeting. We could wait until he's completely finished. So
All
really
right.
the only one I have is for the passport program and the video to keep on.
And I want to add in for next month's agenda, Black History Month, because I want to get this nailed down so that we can publicize it and not wait to the last minute to publicize it. So
great idea. Yeah, we had planned on doing it earlier, and I think, with COVID, things got crazy. That's a good point, Rick.
And the other thing is that the way things are going, will there be a Black History Month? So we want to have some items that where we have some out if we have to make arrangements with organizations to present and we have to pay them, that we have an out with the cancellation. So
Good point.
We may have to go do video and if it's not in person or
right.
Or
Yeah, good point.
Also, we need to have on the next meeting the coded maps and walking tours.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
This is Courtney. Since we're in a new fiscal year, we need to, for the next meeting, talk about the budget.
Nice, Courtney. Yes.
Okay, Courtney, would you, in preparation of that, prepare something for the committee report?
I will put together the end of year numbers. I'll try to get with you, Kate, and get like some final numbers from last year and then put together a proposed budget for this year.
Lynette, are we still working with $10,000 at this point, or has it been reduced?
We just, they were just able to upload all of the new fiscal year budget yesterday, so I will be checking on that. I have not heard that that's been reduced, so I'm not anticipating a reduction, so it still should be at the 10,000 mark.
All right, so would you get in touch with Courtney and let her know once you know what that number is, if it is still staying 10, so she knows how to proceed, please?
Definitely.
Alrighty. Any further discussion of next month's agenda items? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Debbie.
Who moved?
Debbie.
Debbie. Who second? Do we have a second?
This is Courtney. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, everybody, thank you very much. I appreciate your hanging in there with our new technology. Have a good day and stay safe and healthy.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Y'all stay safe and healthy.
Bye.
Hey, but before everyone signs off, and this is more for the staff, I had tried on multiple times to sign into that Microsoft Teams, and it never did anything for me. Was anyone else on the team